Here for the Mastermind call with the Dream Makers Network, and for our 90-day goal setting challenge, the finale, as we enter the last week of our 90-day goal setting challenge. It is just truly a blessing to have these opportunities to connect and share, to work on things that are important to us, to be able to really focus in ways that we hadn't done maybe throughout the year. And now we're in a position to really take what we've been working on to the next level, to grow and excel, and to really dust off what it is that we know is important, but we just haven't given it the energy. We haven't given it the time. And so we're just thankful to have been a part of this 90-day goal setting challenge. We're roughly at day 83, so we're not completely done, but this will be the last call we will have prior to the call, prior to the finish of the 90-day goal setting challenge. I want to say welcome to all of you who are jumping on for the first time. And I am here in Sanford, Florida, and I'm actually out right now on the lakefront. So, and if you've ever been to Sanford, it's a beautiful lakefront, Lake Monroe here in downtown, and it's just a great place to come and just enjoy the scenery. A great place to walk. Great place to get your thoughts together, recharge. You may have seen me post some pictures on social media. Just one of the true gems of Florida, and right here in between Orlando and Daytona Beach. And it is just, I'm thankful that we're, as we've been working on this 90-day goal setting challenge, that this has been one of the things that I have been actively working on. I was making the transition from Maryland back to Florida, which is my hometown. Sanford, Florida, and being intentional, being able to have a smooth transition, being able to not disrupt so many things that are active and that are part of my activities on a day-to-day basis. And it's just, I thought it made sense, right, to be able to, as we have this last call, to show the fruit of our labor of actually being here and and not allowing the transition to blow our brains out and completely run us crazy. But it is a blessing to have these types of challenges and go through the ups and the downs and the whole nine. And if you guys are on for the first time, we welcome you to the Dream Makers Network. We're so thankful that you had an opportunity to wake up early in the morning to participate with us, as we are a personal development network, that truly focuses on kind of moving all of the other things that you've been working on all year, things that are keeping you busy every day. For this hour, we want to really focus on what it is that you truly believe you're here to do. What is it that is important to you? Nothing against what your job has you working on, and that keeps you busy. Nothing against even what some of the things that you're doing at home with family and parents and kids and your spouse and all those things that are part of our responsibilities. But we want to take a second. We don't get a lot of opportunities to do this. So we want to take a second and really focus in on what are the goals and objectives that you yourself, you as an individual. I know you wear a lot of hats: mom, dad, boss, employee, teacher, pastor, community leader, all these things that you represent. But what about you? What about you? What it is that you're here to do? What are those things that you are passionate about? What is the work that you want to spend your time doing in this life? And that gives you the type of energy, that gives you the type of excitement that you feel is purpose driven. Or it could be the case that there are things that you dislike and you're tired of seeing it happen. You want to end cycles, if you will, curses, if you will, things that you're passionate about that may be on the other side, saying you want to put it into something and it doesn't move forward. These are things that we purposely come together to focus on within the Dream Makers Network, and particularly for this call, the Mastermind call. And as I mentioned before, every summer we host our 90-day goal setting challenge. And so this year we did the same thing. And we've been doing this for the past, well, actually, next week it will be 10 years. We will completed our 10th year hosting this call every other Saturday morning. Um, you know, just being in a position to focus on personal development. And I couldn't be more thankful and proud of the folks who have been with us all throughout those years, who have been supportive of us, who've been there as kind of our accountability partners, if you will. To we've watched each other grow. We've supported each other in various ways. We've supported each other's businesses. We're active in each other's organizations and ministries and all. And so there's a lot of things that are going on that this network has had a great impact in supporting each other and helping to guide and being supportive in the growth. And we're just getting started, a decade in, and we're just getting started. A lot of the cool stuff that is on the horizon, it really was birthed out of this network. And so we truly are excited, I would say, for you who are on for the first time and who have those goals, who have those ideas, who have just been waiting for a network like this, right? And so I would look at this as the beginning of the beginning for you, because all it takes is just kind of that one or two people, 2 or 3 come together, being able to align and have a singular focus, a singular objective. That's what it's about. And so that's why we host this mastermind call. We want to teach the principles of a mastermind. But at the same time, we want to be in application mode where we're doing these things, especially when it's lined up with what it is that are things that are important to you. So thank you for connecting with us, joining us this morning. For those who are connecting with us on social media, may see this post later. We're happy to be able to share and connect with you, and we hope that you will connect with us. You can go to our website, dreammakersnetwork.org, learn more about who we are, what we do, what we've been doing, activities, see some of the past videos, upcoming events, so many cool things going on. We have our Purple Honey Entertainment concert coming up here on the 18th of September, so get yourself ready for that at Magooby's Joke House in Timonium, Maryland. And so many cool things going on, but we just want to take a second and say thank you for joining us and connecting with us this morning. All right, guys, here's the real. I do not have a power cord here, so when this goes out, it's going to go out. So we want to pack in as much as we can, and just really let's celebrate the fact that we're on day 83. We're almost there, but we want to celebrate what we've overcome and where we currently are, as we started the goal setting challenge back in Memorial Day, and focusing on a be, do, have, taking each month at a time. And so that first month that you've identified what it is that your goal is, what you want to work on, what you want to realize and create to be a part of your life, something you like to see accomplished. That first step is to become. And how do you become something? And that's the mental aspect of really clearly outlining what it is that your goal is, what it is that you're hoping to accomplish, why it's important for it to be in your life, really beefing up your why. Really going through that phase where mentally and emotionally and you're mentally and spiritually and emotionally becoming what it is that you want to see happen. You're focused on your why. Why is this important? And the whole why factor is, being in a position where your why is so big that you're not going to stop doing it. You're not going to stop working on your goal. So a lot of times we have goals. We all have goals, but the other things that are going on in our lives are bigger. They're more important. And so we give up on goals because, the new demands at work, the challenges on the job, the things that are going on in your home, all of those things are bigger if your why isn't big enough. And so making sure that we have this enormous why, and one that is going to help us to push through The no's, the doubts, the fear, the big why. Really asking yourself, why is this even important? Why have I committed myself to this? Why is this even a goal worth setting? It needs to be something that you truly are connected with. And I'll tell you the truth. It's not, I wouldn't even start the goal setting process until you have a goal that is so important to you that you're willing to prioritize it above other things. You're willing to prioritize it. You're willing, and it's not the case that you are pushing off other things in your life, but you're not going to give up on this. And for the people who know and understand and who love you, and they see you focused, and a lot of times you may have priorities, particularly when it comes to like work, right? And so well, you can't push work off, right? But you have to figure out in your time, if you're exchanging your time for money, then you've given, and if you're a W-2 employee, you're exchanging your time for money from 8 to 5 or whatever those hours are. You commit to that and you are part of that and you do that. But you have to make a commitment to yourself that other time when you're not there, that you're committed to your goals, that you're not, if you're a 9 o'clock going to bed kind of person and you hadn't done anything to move your goals forward, it's not time to go to bed yet. You have to figure out, you can't get upset with your job because they won't allow you to focus on, your other goals that are non-work related, but then you're still going to sleep at 8:30 and 9 o'clock, right? So you have to put in the time to prioritize your goals and making sure that what it is that you're focused on, this goal is truly, it's meaningful to you, and so that is something that we want to make sure that, is happening, and that you're really understanding that prioritization is a big part of the why process. Next is to be in a position of doing. And as we spent the month of July, we now understand what it is that we're focused on. We're building it. And now in the month of July, we were in that conscious competence phase where we're testing it out. We were getting out of the mind phase and now becoming practical, realize people are seeing you do something. People are hearing you talk about this new thing. It's not just between you and God anymore. This is now something that people actually see you doing. And some people looking at you like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. You shouldn't be doing it. People trying to talk you out of it. What are you doing? Please stop. We got other things going on. This is not, when you go through all of those changes, all of those, folks that's really trying to, not understanding your plight. This is something that is part of the process, and we just have to digest that. We just have to digest the fact that there are people who may not understand your why. They may not understand your goal, and especially when you have folks who are a part of the other things that are going on in your life, the other priorities, and they're like, hey, looks like you're getting ready to get distracted, ma'am. looks like you get distracted. We don't have time for distractions, but they don't know your personal plight. And I'll tell you, it's important to, one, be emotionally confident in what it is that you've set your goals to do. Because I can tell you, you're going to have people who love you, care about you, who don't want you to do this, right? They don't want you to get sidetracked. And these new goals and new ideas and things like that, that's just pure sidetrack for them. That's not in line with what they're working with you on, right? And so you have to know that. You have to know that you have to be able to protect your mind from energies that could really disperse your thoughts and make you quit. You have to have a mastermind as it relates to your goals. You have to have a mastermind around the goal setting objective. You have to identify people who are actively in your ear, who are actively supporting you. That's part of it, because if you don't, then there are enough people around you currently who are wanting to make sure you're focused on other stuff and not this new goal. So I just want to really hone in on this, on the objective around the month of doing, in that second 30-day phase where you're practicing, you're literally out there doing it. People see you doing it. They're wondering why. You have to create your own new network to help you become successful in the new objective. and be protective, if you will, of who you share, who you communicate to. Make sure you're really fully utilizing your network, 2 or 3 people who really understand this new goal objective that you're working on. Maybe they're part of it. Maybe it's part of what they're doing, and you guys are working together. It's so important, and so I want to just really highlight that. And so now that we've kind of moved in the past throughout August, in the month of having, and it's really, I look at it as almost like the fruits of your labor. When you worked so hard in the conscious competence phase and trying to understand and practice this goal that you're working on, seeing if you're getting better at it, going through the objections, going through the pain, going through the trials, not giving up, getting into the place where you're doing repetitious activity. And now you've crossed the hump, right? It's that hump. It's like you're going up the hill and you're trying, it's difficult and you're trying, but then you're now at that space where even you may still be going up the hill, but the process to get up a hill has become easier. Like that's when you're now in the space where you're beginning to own the process. It's beginning to become a part of your behaviors. Your thought process, that kind of that what they call a neural pathway, a new thought process, a new habit, as now being formed, which means it's not as difficult anymore. It's not as difficult for you to think about it. It's not as difficult for you to go through the objections. You've stayed consistent long enough to cross that threshold. I remember when I was in college in my psychology class, and I remember my professor, she said, listen, 21 days, give me 21 days, you can create a habit. 21 days, you will create the habit. And I remember practicing that back in college and going through stuff in college, right? I was like, all right, just give me 21 days, 21 days of consistency. And ever since then, I've used that even in this 90-day goal setting challenge, because when we break things in 30 days, I feel good about it because I understand the 21-day process. And so knowing that before we get to the end of the 30-day, at some point in that, I'm going to become consciously competent at a place where I'm moving into that unconscious competence phase where I understand it, I know it, I'm moving, I've created the habit. The process is not as difficult, and so we have to, I say all these things because mentally, we have to be prepared for where we're going. We have to be able to at least mentally see where we're going, knowing that there is a process to accomplishing goals. If we don't have those things ready to go, then again, these are just all a host of excuses that could come up and force you to say, I'm okay with failing. I'm okay with not completing this process. And so just mentally knowing that you have to go through a certain process to get to that point. And I know most of us are still in that phase where day 83, another week, if you will, before we finish this goal setting challenge. But again, we want to be able to make sure that you're able to understand the process and apply it at any point in time. Your next goal that you begin to focus on, the growth of this one. You've accomplished something, you've created something now, and you're thinking, well, what's next? I want to expand on this. I want to take this to the next level. And you take yourself through another goal setting process to build upon what you've already created. And so I want to be mindful of time. Let's open up the call. Anyone who has any questions, comments, want to share their 90-day goal setting process, what has happened up to this point, the good, bad, the ugly, all of those things. Let's take a second and open up the call now. And if you're on social media, hit us on the chat. Let us know what you're working on and how you felt throughout this process. What have you seen that's worked? What has been some of the issues that have gotten in your way? Again, this is our time to be transparent and honest. And so let's take a second and we'll open up the call now.
Hey, good morning, Byron. I wanted to just jump on really quickly.
All right.
And just talk about my goals and where I am in the process. So my challenge, for those of you who didn't know, was I wanted to buy another dental practice. No, I was on the dental practice on August 12th, so that's working. I have a mentor who is like everything. She's a Jewish lady who is just like giving me the game. Like her only goal is to make sure that I'm super successful. So she invested and paid for me to go to this institution called the Pinky Institution. So all the elite dentists, all the people who are making top dollars have gone through this institution or an institution that was birthed out of this institution. So I'm here in Biscayne Key or Key Biscayne.
Oh, Miami.
Florida, right outside of Miami.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. And I got to be downstairs in like 3 minutes. So, so I just wanted to go first real quick to say, work it, y'all. Work the system. Like, if you commit to it, it will be faithful and give you the fruit of the seeds you planted. So this is the second time I've done this, and every time it's given birth to a new dental practice.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, work it. It matters the people that you surround yourself with. It matters the things that you read, the things that you allow in your life. So never underestimate where you are in the process, even if it takes longer than 90 days. It works if you work it.
Wow. I love it.
That's it. Now I have to disconnect.
I know it.
Minutes.
I'm glad you jumped in before everybody else, so you had the time to be able to say this. And we're going to continue to talk about this, but I'm so glad that you're someone who's proven that this kind of thing works if you commit yourself to it. And this is my dentist, right? And so now she's going to become more people's dentist because she's opening up a new office in Baltimore. And so I saw the video the other day, which I couldn't, my cheeks were hurting. I was smiling so hard. And so congratulations. I know you're going to share more about, what it takes to become, to bring on more people and what type of clients you're looking for this new practice. And we'll talk about that on a separate call, get folks out. But I just want to take a second and just say congratulations to you, Dr. Dana. Let's give it up for the good doctor. She is always coming through and staying committed to the goals and her inspirations. Knock them dead out there. Enjoy Key Biscayne. I know it's beautiful. So enjoy that time, connect, meet with the great people, and make it happen. I love it. All right. Now that was a great kickoff. Now, again, anybody else, let's take a second. Let's open up the call. Anybody else? I want to get them all in before my computer dies on me. So let's open up the call now. Anybody else want to share where they are in the process? How do they feel about what's being created? Good, bad, ugly. Let's take a second and we'll open up the call now. And again, I apologize in advance if you hear some of the loud music. Folks are coming by, they're driving by to see the beautiful scenery here and at the lakefront. But we'll take a second and open up the call now.
This is Delisa Hardy.
Good morning.
This challenge has really shifted a lot of things for me. As I'm looking back and reflecting on the one that all that I've been able to accomplish, I had to make a transition from using my kids as an excuse to using them as the reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that shift, I've been able to accomplish so much more in just this month than probably I've been able to accomplish all year.
Wow.
And having them as my why, having my support system, like you talked about, having that accountability, people that are going to be in your ear to say, okay, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you working on? And partnering with other people, man, it's just my goals that I set in the beginning of this challenge. I'm so much closer than I would have been had I continued to use the fact that I'm now a single mom of 3 kids under 3 as an excuse.
Mm.
So I just wanted to share that I have been able to, share my story with people and connect with people and partner with people that have been willing to pour into me. I even was able to get a VA that's working for me pro bono until I'm able to pay her.
Wow.
There's so many doors have opened, so many opportunities have come my way just by being open, being transparent, and being willing to accept help. Instead of just saying I can do everything on my own. And trying and failing and struggling on my own, literally opening my mouth, opening, my heart to people so that they can help and support me as I continue to grow and as I continue to mature and thrive through this situation.
Wow. I love it. Now let me ask you a quick question. So at what point was your point of, I don't want to use the word breaking point, but the point of recognizing that, how to identify your why? When you identified that your children are your why and not a crux, if you will, what was that point? What was that marker that made you say, wait a second, I got to change my thoughts. I got to change the way I'm approaching this.
It was when I decided to partner with God. I made the decision to stop trying to do everything on my own, stop relying on my own strength, on my own power. God, shifted my mindset to show me, they're not your excuse to not do what I've called you to do. Mm-hmm. They're your reason why you should be doing what I've called you to do. The reason that you can have to wake up in the morning and them looking up to you and showing them that regardless of the chaos, regardless of what people might say or what other people might do, you can still thrive, you can still succeed, you can still be the person that God called you to be. And that realizing that in partnering with God, God wants us to do the seemingly impossible. The Bible says that with God, nothing is impossible. So doing things in my own strength and my own will, I was only literally scratching the surface of what I'm capable of. So now that I've partnered with God, I've been able to accelerate my healing process. I've been able to accelerate the work and the impact that He's called me to make.
Wow. Partnering with God, partnering with the Creator. I mean, that is just, it doesn't get any better than that. And I'm so glad you said that, because I feel the same way whenever I'm in a space where I know I don't have any capacity to address it. I don't know how to do it. I don't have the energy. I'm almost afraid. All of those things. As soon as I feel those emotions, I look to God and say, "This one belongs to you," because I have nothing to give. This one belongs to you, and that's the partnership. That's the relationship that definitely is so valuable as we are pursuing goals and trying to be purpose driven and trying to be everything and do the things that are so important. So I'm so glad you shared it, because we remember your story and where you were, say, 2 months ago, let alone your current reality. And you've been, and I believe this 90-day goal setting challenge when you was one of the first calls that you heard, but to be able to apply the process to your current situations. And again, we say the good, the bad, and the ugly, to be able to see that transition happen is so important. So thank you for sharing, keeping us up to speed on everything that's going on. And as you begin to get more into your space, so we want you to be clear with us and share the work that you're doing so we can be supportive. And there's so many unique networks on this call, and it's important that we all know what each other does so we can bring you in and be a part of this, that part of the ecosystem as well. So we appreciate you, Jaleesa, for sharing with us this morning and keeping us up to speed on your progress.
You're welcome, and thank you for this call.
All right, let's keep it going. Anybody else? Let's jump in. Anybody else ready to share about their goal setting process this summer, where you are, what's been going on? Let's be clear. Let's be transparent. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Even if we hadn't hit the home runs yet, we just want to talk about the process, because that's where all of us are. We're going through the process. Let's take a second. We'll open up the call now. So here it is. This is truly these 90-day goal setting challenges are just so important. They're valuable in more ways than one. When I sent out the message to everybody and posted on social media yesterday, and with the focus of remember when you wanted what you currently have. And I wanted to put that statement out at the top of your thoughts, primarily because to show that we've been goal setting for a long time. We've been, goal setting isn't something that we just started. And sometimes I talk to folks and they're like, I've never done a goal setting challenge before. It's like, well, how'd you get what you have right now? Oh, well, yeah. I did. I wanted a job, and I wanted to get married, or I wanted to have kids. I mean, any of these ideas, these aspirations that we get, these inspirations, if you will, it's the beginning of a goal setting process. And you may not have created a network, and you may not have done all these different things consciously, but when you go back and look over the steps that you've done and that you did to create your current reality, the current things that you say are a blessing to you, the current things that are currently happening to your life, the things that at some point in time before you prayed to God for. You said, God, please, please give me this. Here's why. And you laid your list out. Those aspirations, when you look back, I wanted to take a second and really put that at the forefront of my own thoughts. I remember, when I left this city, 23 years ago, when I left Sanford, Florida, I remember getting in the car. It was me and my brother was in my car, and we were following my mom and dad on our way to Tuskegee. That 6.5, 7-hour drive from Sanford to Tuskegee. And I remember leaving the city limits, like just that mental picture. I remember driving and saying to myself, I'm probably never coming back here, right? That was in my mind at that time. It was just like, and if I come back, I'll be old and gray, right? And so, and 23 years goes by, and just being in a position to remember what was it about that time? What was I pursuing at that time? What was important to me at that time? What was I trying to accomplish then? And then you start thinking about all of the things that going from one goal to another, from one goal to another, from one goal to another, just culminating, looking at a collective of goals, of goal setting challenges, if you will. Again, it wasn't kind of formalized, but aspirations, things that we wanted to see happen. And then ask yourself, why? Why did I want that? Why was it that I pursued that versus this? Why did I go in this direction versus another direction? And having that at the top of my thoughts. And so it's sometimes now just coming back and seeing it. And what's interesting about that is 23 years ago, this city looked a lot different than it looks right now. So it's clear that the city was also setting goals. Even this very location where I'm sitting right now, this did not exist 23 years ago. This was a part of this, I think a parking lot for the municipal complex down here, and so the city was setting goals all at the same time. And so, I want us to really think back to the process where we were when we were thinking about things that we currently have accomplished, things that we currently own as this is my new reality. This is my reality now. I remember, we're in this home buying process, but I remember back when we were living in our old house, our daughter was little, and we were thinking, it's time, it's time to, get a bigger house, and we want to move into a different neighborhood. And we start thinking about why, and we start building all the reasons why, and just beginning that process. I remember driving around the region, if you will, looking for a place that excited me. Now by that time we had our calls, and we were really tapping into understanding our vibration and our energy and how to use that. And so I was just riding around, pretty much all of greater Baltimore, looking for an area that resonated with my energies, my spirit, and my aspirations. And I just remember, I used to, it was literally a year went by. I rode through this neighborhood maybe once a week, sometimes even more, just to connect with the energy of the community. And ultimately, and we put a bid in on a house there. We didn't get that house. Somebody else got it. Our current neighbors got the house. And it took a year for us to get to find another property in that location. It had been next door to that house, but we ended up in that space. But again, I just go back to where my mind was, just something about this community that gives me the energy that I'm looking for, and it served the purpose. And so I think about that for so many reasons. It's just the fact that goal setting is not something that's foreign. We do it all the time. We may not verbalize it the way that we're talking about right now, but we have ideas, we pursue goals. And at the same time, and my biggest question to you right now is, over time, as we've identified goals that we want to accomplish, things that we want to see happen in our life, once we accomplish that, do we celebrate? Do you celebrate accomplishments? And if you do, how do you celebrate? What is your form of celebration? How do you show excitement? How do you show that you're grateful, you're thankful? How do you, or is it just it happened and now you're on to the next, right? And I want to slow down this conversation because, hey, we're goal setting. It's a goal setting challenge. We're working hard. Boom, boom, boom. We're making it work, and we hit it. We check, boom, and then we're on to the next one, right? But when you look at when I look back over those 23 years that I talked about, and I look at the various goals that I set for myself, and I started asking the question: did I celebrate? Did I celebrate in between the accomplishment? Did I mentally celebrate? Did I emotionally, spiritually? Did I celebrate with other people? And it could be the case that someone else was willing and ready to celebrate, but I wasn't. I was just, I tell you one thing. I remember the part of how I even met my wife was I, had graduated college, moved to Baltimore, first time I'd never been in the city. And my cousin was like, hey, we're going to celebrate. We'll celebrate you coming, and moving, your new job, your new, it was my birthday was coming up. So it was like your new job, your birthday. And that was him celebrating me. And it's amazing what happens when you celebrate. And this, if you unpack what celebrating is, right? Especially what celebrating is and who you're celebrating with. There's magic that happens. I mean, magic that led to a marriage, and for me, because the intentionality around celebrating, when you're the whole purpose of something that you've worked on, that was part of your deep goals, part of the goals that you wanted to see happen, and you were working on building it, and going through all the trials, the tribulations, all of those things, and you accomplished that. In my case, was graduating college, and then not only graduating college, but then going and getting a job. Those two things that, and something that, and as a kid, that's the goal, right? You go to college, you go to school, you go to college, you get a good job with benefits, all that was it, right? And to do all of those things leading up, and then in that celebratory moment, to celebrate those two things of graduating and getting a job, the energy around that attracted my life partner. When you think about that, like the power of celebration, of multiple people coming together to, to acknowledge. I was looking up the word celebrate, to acknowledge a fact, to acknowledge something, to celebrate something that happened. And when the multiple people are doing that at the same time. And so I wanted to just highlight that, because not only is it important to celebrate your accomplishments, but it's powerful. There's great power in celebration. The intentionality, the thoughts that goes into preparing to celebrate, and then the euphoria of it happening and what's happening when you celebrate, and the ability to attract other things that you want into your life. It happens. You have to create those types of experiences. And so I want to just highlight the fact that, I know we're at day 83. We have another 7 days to go. But I think going forward, we need to be much more intentional about celebration. We need to be much more intentional about celebrating wins and celebrating with people who understand why you're celebrating. It's one thing just to invite folks and you got people in the room, but they're just there. It's another when there are people in the room who understood your plight, understood what you were trying to accomplish. You're purposely and intentionally creating a mastermind to celebrate with the right people, with the right folks in the room, and be in that moment of thankfulness, gratefulness, excitement. I'm intentional about having a good time for this particular reason. This is a very intentional conversation I'm having here when we talk about celebration, because it can birth. Not only are you, celebrating something, you could potentially birth something else from those moments, and having the right people in the room who understand. Like it's like whenever you're throwing a party, hopefully to have people who understand why the party is even happening, and they have some type of connection to the host, and this is the same situation. So I want to have you guys really think about, number one, do you celebrate? And if you celebrate, how do you celebrate? Do you celebrate your wins? Do you celebrate when you do accomplish something? And if you don't, I think this is a good time for us to start thinking about how we can help people celebrate. So, because it's so important. It's so important. I know there are people who are going to hear us and say, hey, I'm in the celebration business. So contact me. We will help you celebrate. We will put on the best event. We will do whatever it takes to make it a great experience. But again, I want this to be an opportunity for us to put it to the front of our mind that, goals are definitely purpose to do and accomplish and to go through the process and making it happen. But it's also supposed to be a celebration. There's a big part of celebrating that should be involved in that process. And so let's begin the thought process around what are we going to do? Put that at the end of the goal. I cannot wait to accomplish this goal, because when I do, we're going to celebrate. And here's what that celebration will look like. Boom, just organize it, put it together, make it attractive. And make it something that not only you are truly going to benefit from and remember and see it as a valuable enjoyment for that particular event, but other people are really going to enjoy the fact that, because they know you, they're a part of that process, and they're going to see it just as valuable. And for folks who come in with a certain level of intentionality, they recognize that if they're hanging around you and your successes, that their success is just on the other side, because they are a part of your space, they're a part of your network. And at the end of the day, when you are willing to support and celebrate somebody else, it won't be long that they will be supporting you and celebrating you. So as my man on the motorcycle rides by, anybody else, let's jump in. Anybody have any questions, comments about this 90-day goal setting challenge before my laptop dies on me? Anybody want to jump in and share their thoughts on the process? We will open the call now. My man.
What's up, man?
How you?
What's going on? I'm good, man. I'm not on social media, so I can't see you, or you can't send a screenshot of your actual bar on your laptop. I I like to stretch it out a little bit.
I know you do. Go for it, man.
I know you've been.
It actually says I have 2 hours and 4 minutes, but it's a lie. Like it's all it does mean like the whole time. I was like, oh yeah, I got 2 hours and 14 minutes, and then like 17 minutes later it's off. Like the whole mutant meeting shut down.
It's a wrap.
so yeah.
Well, I've been looking. I've been watching the time. I figured we're gonna get this thing going till 8.
Let's go.
But I was man, you threw me. You threw me. I know, right? You threw me. Well, first of all, good morning. I'm so excited and so happy and so grateful that the call, that we get another call and we wrapping up a 90-day, right? So important. And these summers are full of excitement and stress and and work and anticipation, and just everything, all the emotions, you roll up into this thing when you get intentional about trying to achieve a goal, right? So I'm extra happy, for the two people that did share earlier. Dana, obviously she's the Michael Jordan of this, another championship. Like, yeah, I got another ring.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I got another one. Yeah, I got another ring. So that's just so amazing. And in fact, she said it. And when she said it early in the early part of when we started the thing, like, yeah, this is my goal. This is what I'm going to do. Understanding, what it takes to expand the business, and to just buy anything. I mean, forget an actual business, but to purchase a home or a car or in real estate and equipment and people and all these things that go along with starting a new business, but to do it a second time is amazing. And we always, it's just such a good example of the challenge. I'm living in her world a little bit. Like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. That is really amazing. That is great. And she laid out a couple key things, but Jaleesa I almost got on right after Jaleesa because she had me at that lump period. Her why is similar to a lot of our wives.
Yeah.
She started talking about her kids. She's like, yeah, I got my kids, my mom. They're my reason. I'm like, that's right. They are. They always are. As much as the rest of us may, want to do things or add layers on top of, what our why is. Because the layered why is good too. Sometimes you don't have just one singular why. You got layers of why, like a bag that you can go into. Like, okay, here's a why. Oh, I got my kids. Oh, I got my mom. Oh, I got my, my reputation. Oh, I got, all these things are like why. That you can like grab onto and build it up. But she went right to the 3 kids. I said, I'm a single mom and I'm getting it together. And then when I got my notes today, right? So then when she hit me with the partner with God, that was where it got. Because those are the struggles that we talked about probably 3 or 4 calls ago.
Yeah.
We talked about partner with God, listening to God, opening up and asking for help was what the real challenge was. She said that, like, stop trying to do it on my own. We're going to ask for help. I said, wow, okay. You trying to put me with the lump early. But no, I held the lump back. I took a sip of my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and I manned up. I know that was toxic, but but still, I swallowed the lump, but I felt it though. I acknowledged it because it was powerful.
Yeah.
It was something that so I'm grateful for her for sharing and not, reminding, because that's what this call is.
Yeah.
That's really what this total side note, what all of this is, what this whole call is, what even personal development is. It's really just a reminder of the things that are inside of you that you're trying to get out. That's all it really is. We're not learning too many new things, making some new skills, but all of those things, are just not easily learned, but things that can be learned. But what powers them, that power that goes from inside of them is something that's always been inside of us. And it just gets buried over all this other time. And then now we dig it and remind. We're just reminding ourselves. So every time I hear somebody talk, hear you talk, hear somebody else, go through their thing, and they're reminding me of, the power of what I have inside of me, and the blessings and my relationship to my creator, and getting closer to that is the ultimate goal, because then everything else, like the guy described as like not a master goal, but like a goal that is all encompassing if you're going to decide what you want to do. So, you want to say, hey, I want to get healthy. Why? Because if I'm healthy, it affects all aspects of my life. So that's the same thing with getting close to your creator and, figuring out, not even figuring it out. Getting close to your creator, reminding yourself and figuring out, what that relationship is like a master kind of goal that'll allow you to, that'll resonate through all the other things that you're doing. And the better you are at that, the better you are with all things in your life that you want to do. So those reminders that I get from the call and from the people who share on the call is super important. Super important. So that all said, I'm flipping pages. My last piece is you hit me with a loop with the celebration piece. That's new. That's new from us, you, whatever. That's new. That's brand spanking new. That's that Florida. That's that Sanford stuff. That I'm not all for that Lake Sanford stuff. You know what I'm saying? That hot down there, sweat, mosquitoes. That's what that is. That's what that is. Because, and it's another reminder, because I do not celebrate. Not a lot.
Yeah.
Very small. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like you hit me. I said, what is he talking about? Celebration. I mean, you may rah, hey, that was cool, but like, I'm not a person up to this point who has been focused on celebration. I haven't been. Not for myself.
Yeah.
Not for myself. So we're talking about this personal development. So I'm talking about my person.
Yeah.
So, I'm not, and on top of that, I have a birthday coming up.
But tomorrow or something like that, right?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Talk about a brother who doesn't celebrate. You don't even know when your birthday is.
Oh, man, that's what I'm saying. I know it's the next couple days.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So that puts you in line with my mentality. And just telling a quick story. I was at, I think it was my second year at school, and you get, because it's obviously the 28th, and you're on campus. The class 7 started, and they're doing like the ice cream social. You remember the ice cream social?
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all had that.
Yeah.
The ice cream social. So me and 2 other guys, and I guess we're sophomores at this point, so you think you know everything. So you're like, yeah, we're gonna slide over to the ice cream social going on, right? And so we standing there talking, chatting, watching all the people, trying to meet the girls, and and slapping hands with everybody that you haven't seen in a minute. And I'm like, man, what's today, man? He's like, oh yeah, it's the 28th. I said, man, it's my birthday. He looked at me like, what are you talking about?
What's the day?
I said, what's today's date?
Wow.
He shook his head like, man, you're a wild dude.
Dude.
Everybody puts you in a category based on where you from. He's like, man, y'all Baltimore guys, man. Just as if nobody in Baltimore celebrated their birthday.
I know, right?
But funny story. But again, so it's been, it's just that idea of celebrating and the vibration that it creates and the way you described it, and being intentional about celebration as a springboard to continue to have things to celebrate.
Yeah.
Right? It's like all real truth. It's very simple, but very powerful, and you start to evoke one, as I'm thinking about it, and as I was taking notes on it, you start to evoke the energy or harness the energy that brought you into the reason to celebrate, and then push that energy forward to give you more things to celebrate. So in essence, you want to create a loop of celebration, things that you can celebrate about. And then, and then in a very basic sense, you're talking about a birthday, your birth, you're like, you want to make it to the next one,
Yeah, that's right.
that's the beauty of a birthday.
Yeah.
Making it to the next one, right?
Nobody wants to celebrate their last birthday like this.
No, you don't want to celebrate. Not knowingly.
Not knowingly. Like, oh, this is it, right? Yes. Yeah.
This is it. The last one. Let's go ahead and do what I'm saying. No, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. So, in celebration of being in that loop and living there, where you are, having things to celebrate, like you said, intentionally, and then grabbing that energy because and putting the right people together. Now this is where the mastermind and dream makers stuff kind of really comes in, because now you're getting intentional and putting people involved to kind of boost that energy, during celebration and post celebration, to kind of to springboard you into the next thing. And if you're really intentional, you've already got the next thing set up for you to move into. And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's the thing. So if somebody who's a grinder, who just kind of keeps it moving and looks up, like, keep your head down and go, and then look up and see where I am, and then go back down and grind. That look up piece can be, I'm going to apply more celebration to that, intentional celebration to that. So that was the thing. So I was very surprised on that, and I'm, and enlightened, and I'm, grateful for the call, and continuing with the 90 days, and 10 years, and all that other beautiful stuff that we've been working on.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was good.
I got to tell you, Paz, to be honest with you, it why celebration jumped out for me is because I was looking at what day we were on. I was like, okay, wow, we got 83. We're at day 83. We have 7 more days. And then my mind quickly started going into what's next. And it was moving fast too, right? It was like, okay, great. So at the first of the year, we're going to launch this, and this is going to happen. And boom. And I was like, wow, like I hadn't even celebrated the fact that the goal of transition, the goal of having a successful transition literally yesterday, sitting in this same location, I secured one of my first I told you we launched this new division within the firm, new client, new price point, was able to articulate the strategy, and the more I talked about it, the more I got excited about it, right? So that goes back to the being in that conscious competence phase, moving toward unconscious competence. I experienced that yesterday, and it was prior to it, I was like, okay, we've been building this thing, we're pulling it together, been doing a lot of this in silos. Let's package it, let's pull it together, and let's present it. And just it was a midpoint in the conversation. I was just like, this thing works. This thing works. Well, I'll be. And that is, where's the celebration, right? We celebrate the fact that this thing actually works. We created it. And I like telling people about it. Like I go around the office, like, hey, we created this thing, right? This didn't exist. You guys weren't doing this before. We created it, and it works, and it's of value. And and so it's this. There is something about celebrating creation. The fact that we can celebrate something that went from an idea, a mind idea, to taking nothing and making it something, and that part is just still, to me, stands out. That still stands out for me, and I hope it always does. I hope I always, even when I'm 80, my 80s, and I'm still like, oh, what am I creating today, right? And it's cool to have like people that you can point to who are, in their 80s, in their 70s or 90s, if you will, and they're still thinking about creating. They're still trying to create something. And once you create, it can last. Depending on what you're creating, it's something that could, that could last, stand around for the test of time. And that's the beauty. And I think that we have to figure out, we have to appreciate the value of celebrating creation. And, these processes, these goal setting challenges and going from idea to practical is creation. And we need to get in the spirit of celebrating creation. We celebrate these babies, they come into the world, babies are here and they give it's a finished product, right? You're looking at it, oh wow, look at this baby, and we're celebrating, and we have to be in that spirit ongoing. And because there are a host of reasons why when we don't do it, it's not healthy for us. It's not mentally healthy. It's not emotionally healthy when we don't celebrate. Because we think about it, right? You're working hard, you're plowing, you're really pushing the envelope, and you're working hard, and then it's something is created, and then you just go on to the next thing. And at what point is your spirit saying, well, you just say, job well done, brother. Some people ask, Jesus will reward me when I die. Like, okay. Like, what about right now? Let's work on you today, brother, because we got to get that frown off your face. We got to make sure them eyebrows aren't always squinched up. You see people all the time, their eyebrows are just always squinched because they ready to frown. Like, frown is easy. We want to make sure that frowns aren't easy. And so again, I know, kind of focusing on this topic of celebration, but that is really the core of this. And this is these 90-day sessions are not easy. There are a lot of people who started and didn't finish. They say, hey man, I'm not going to talk because I started it and I'm not even on it no more. I started it, I'm not even doing it. So, but I like hearing y'all talk about it though. So, that's a real thing. So, so it's not easy. It's not easy. So it's worth the celebration, and nothing that is really worth it is easy, right? And, unless you get into the place where you're always pursuing the difficult. And I know people like that. And so, what show me the difficult lane. And it's like, okay, well, that's it. Well, great. That's where I'm going. I was like, all right, brother. But I know people, that's part of their makeup to go into the difficult. But when I think back on it, those folks do know how to celebrate. The folks who are like, yeah, throw me in the difficult lane. They're the ones who I know they're usually like, oh, all right, hey, we're on our way to Costa Rica. Like, okay. I mean, I got a client, man, and this guy, I'm like, hey man, where are you right now? Like, where are you in the world? So can we schedule a meeting, like, or do I need to, get my passport game up just so we can talk? Because but again, he stays in the weeds, stays in the fire zone, but this brother celebrates. He celebrates about better than anybody I can think of off the top of my head. So it's worth it. It is so worth it. And I just wanted to make sure that that's part of our thought process as we're pursuing goals. That we have this big, something that we're looking forward to. And Paz, I think you and I should talk about how to even orchestrate some of this stuff, especially when we're doing these types of things, because it's worth it. It's worth it, and people, everybody wants to celebrate. They just feel like some people don't like bringing attention to themselves. That's number one, and two,
right.
People just their time it's just so monopolized, and so they don't know how to fit it into everything else. But intentionality is everything, and it's worth it.
I got one other thing, because something you just said that sparked the thought about the hard celebration. You know the guy, and you know his name because he's the guy. Who is the guy from Baltimore who is or was the CEO of the Legg Mason or maybe it's Goldman Sachs. Who was the big financial guy?
David Rubenstein. Dave Rubenstein.
Is that him? Is he a Baltimore guy?
Yeah, Carlisle.
What was
the Carlisle
that?
Group.
No, it's not the Carlisle Group. It's another one of the places. What's the other big financial group? The guy that got pushed out. Chase. Was it Chase? You know, Jamie is his first name. Jamie what?
Jamie Dimon?
Jamie Dimon. He's a Baltimore guy?
No. But they were here for a little while, but he's not from Baltimore.
A while ago. Anyway, well, they were here. And what company was that?
Commercial Credit. So he was one of the leaders with Sandy Weill when they started Commercial Credit. When they bought Commercial Credit, but Commercial Credit is a Baltimore-based company.
Nope, that's not it. That's not it either. Little company. Anyway, I thought you would shoot his name out, but it is what it is. I get it. It'll come to me in a second. Anyway, I was at a fundraiser for heart disease, maybe the heart disease thing years ago. And this guy is I want to say he's the CEO of Legg Mason so badly. It's not Legg Mason. It's one of the big, the three big ones. I thought he was local, but anyway.
Mark Fetting. Mark Fetting was the head of Legg Mason when I was there. He's from Baltimore. He's a Baltimore guy. Went to Gilman.
There you go. So it's him. Yeah. But he's the CEO of Legg Mason, right?
He was. Yeah. They kicked him out.
Huge company. Yeah, there you go. That's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Baltimore guy that got kicked out. Yeah. Legg Mason. But he was at this fundraiser, and they had the fundraiser, and then it was done. They collected all the money. And when they went to the dance floor part, this guy who was, a 60-year-old, corporate white guy, short, hunched over shoulders, like not really, he's not one of those, one of them old James Bondy kind of sexy,
guy.
Regular,
Yeah.
He's one of them kind of guys, right?
Yeah.
This brother, he tore the dance floor up.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, he was celebrating so hard to where it was almost like I was slightly embarrassed. Like it was cringeworthy.
Yeah.
It was cringeworthy celebration.
I love it.
And I'm thinking like this guy, and then now, so you talking about celebration and being able to cut loose. I'm like, imagine this is probably around the time that all this stuff was happening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But with all these people here, there's 500 people in the room, and all this money, and $500,000 has been collected, and then and he didn't give the keynote, but he gave like the thank you and all that, and then right after that, he gets the dance floor and cut it.
Made it work.
I mean, shirt off, not shirt off, jacket off, the whole nine, right? And I was just like, when you reminded me of hard celebration, the hard thing, I was like, wow, okay, there you go. He wasn't cool. He let it all loose, for a real celebration. I'm sure he had to go back, and do all the hard things that you do when you run, you're the CEO of Legg Mason, huge financial institution and billions of dollars or whatever. But very interesting. So you reminded me of that. I said, there you go, hard celebration, witnessing it, and the idea that you do want to celebrate hard for those reasons is important. So I'm harping on that because it's something that we're going to work on. I'm going to put into my repertoire.
Yeah.
Second of all, you breezed over. You took a couple of jabs at all my people who started goal, and then like it doesn't go, and then by the end of the 90 days, we all have been in that situation before.
Yeah.
And will be in the future. You start something, you gun ho at it, and it kind of and it dwindles out. But if it's important enough to you, which it will be, and this is how you know it will be, it'll eat at you.
Yeah.
It'll eat at you. It'll poke you at random times throughout the day.
Yep.
You'll hear a song, you'll be jamming, and one thing the person will say, you'll be like, damn, I know I gotta get back to do that.
Yeah.
It'll poke at you. And that is the reminder to simply just start again. Just start it over again.
Yeah.
And keep starting. Keep starting. You know, but they say, how do you quit? Don't give up. How do you stop smoking cigarettes? Don't quit. You know,
Don't quit.
So yeah, I was gonna stop.
Don't quit.
Yeah, I was gonna stop smoking, but don't quit.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually you'll stop. So, you know, you may stop. It may be an extended pause, but you know, you can come back to it and then just reapply the principles. And that's why we focus on this kind of stuff, because the principles are universal. They're not for the 2022 summer season, and then these principles no longer work.
It's universal.
It's universal. They work in 20. Yeah, it's universal. You can pick it up and start whenever and go right back at it. Get your why together. You know, get your conscious confidence in order. You know, and start working, and then now celebrate.
Yeah.
So it still works. So if you quit or stop, pick it back up. You know, we did it. We're doing it right now.
Now.
It's happening to many people right now.
That's right.
Right now. So don't give up, y'all. That was it. You get some jabs in that. I know that's a fact, but you know, hey, go back to it, y'all. Don't quit.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I've had people tell me, they said, "Listen, Dees, I saw you coming down the street and went the other direction because I knew you were gonna ask me about the goal or whatever thing." I literally, I've had people tell me, I saw you coming and went the other way. And I said, you know, hey, number one, I do not want that to be who I am, right? I don't want to be that dude, like, you know, every time we talk, I'm asking you about the same, because I don't do that. I'll wait for you to tell me what's going on. And if you don't want to tell me what's going on, that's cool. We don't talk about it. We just, hey, I'm just happy to see you existing right now, you know? That's just like I saw, man, I tell you, being home, I saw a guy I grew up with, and the other day, and that brother told me, he's like, man, and I remember, and when he said it, I remembered, you know, it was like during COVID when so many people were dying, it was just too much. I couldn't even keep up with all the people who were dying. And he was like, man, I literally, you know, I died during COVID. He's like, they brought me back to life. And and when he said it in my mind, I remember people talking about pray for him, you know, and all that. And I was just like, wow. And he shared that story with me, man, and just how he just saw so many people dying every day. Thank you. And just saw, you know, people going out. And so, you know, it's just one of those situations where it's like, you know, goal setting is something that that's why I open it up. It has to be a part of something that you want. It's one thing for somebody else to tell you to do it. That's probably, those are the ones that you probably, they got to have some guarantees and stuff for you to really to make it work. But when it's something that you want, that's goal setting for the purpose of personal development, we're so willing, I shouldn't say willing, we're so used to giving up on ourselves. We won't give up on other people. Like, we'll work hard to make sure, like you said, for the babies and for, you know, the wife and everybody. But when we start talking about ourselves, we'll give up on ourselves. And I just want to make sure that we're not giving up on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I expect you to, you know, to go to work and work hard for your family and for your kids and for your spouse and for your mama and your daddy. Like, those are things I expect. But what I know is a fact that we will give up on ourselves because, you know, say, hey, it's just me. And then what happens, we say that, but truthfully, it shows in our behaviors that we've been giving up on ourselves for a long time. It shows in the way we, you know, in our actions and how we talk, that we've been giving up on ourselves. We've been going hard for everybody else, but we've been giving up on us on individually. And that's the part I want to make sure that we're not doing that, because the more you keep giving up on yourself, it's honestly, it's gonna come a time when you don't have the energy to go hard for other people, because you've given up on yourself so much, you know, and you don't have that extra, you know. At some point you're gonna get apathetic, and we just don't have the time for that. You know what I'm saying? There's so much that we have to get done. It's just so much that we have to reveal individually. You know, God created you to reveal your greatness. And I'm gonna say something that's probably the most controversial thing you ever heard me say. But your greatness is not just about helping other people. Your greatness is about revealing why God created you. Like, what's so special about you that God said, yes, that's what I want to create. We need to know that. We need to know what's so great about you that makes God somebody we should be revering. It's like, whew, you can make somebody like that. That's what this whole thing is about. And a lot of times, again, we easily, yeah, I go hard for my kids. I go hard for my spouse, and I go hard for my church, and I go hard for the. Great. What about you? Like, what is so great about you that we can see why you were created? And you know it, but a lot of times we hide so much behind our own greatness, and we busy ourselves with a whole bunch of other stuff that we never get a chance to fully see it. We see like little spurts of it, little gleams here and there. So when are you going to invest in you? When are you going to go hard for you? That's the part. And I truly believe that when you go hard for you, everybody else who matters to you will benefit. And that's the thing. People think that, well, if I start spending too much time on me, I'm not going to be supporting my people. And that's the biggest lie ever. Because if you care about these folks, if you care about the things that are currently important to you right now, when you're living at your true greatness, at your highest level, you're going to still care about them. And you're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to be that much more impactful. So we have to get out of that thought process that we're not, that we're doing something great by just focusing on everybody else. When the truth is, you're doing everybody else a disservice because you haven't fully revealed your true power. You haven't fully revealed your true greatness. And that's the purpose. I want the window of time that we have on these calls to be about revealing your true greatness, what is still left in there that you can shine, versus, I'm taking what I currently have to support. You're doing everybody else a disservice by not really revealing your true power. I don't know who I was talking to just now, but that is a fact. So, that was real.
Everybody. That's a fact. That is a fact. That's why we call it personal development.
Personal development. Not family development. This isn't family development. This isn't business development. This is personal development. So, and all those other things benefit. They benefit. So, all right, my good coffee came, so I'm ready. All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments before we finish up? Let's open up the call now. All right, family. It's celebration time. We got one more week. Let's push. Let's and again, when we talk about pushing, we're talking about, regardless of what stage you're in right now, we talk about the organized 30 days, 3 30-day cycles. But at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is being able to get to that unconscious competence phase where your behavior has changed. You pursue a goal, and now it's part of what you do. That's what we're really talking about. And so, I want to make sure that we haven't given up on any of that, and that even if we had to pause it and had to put it on hold for whatever reason, that you know how to jump right back on. You know how to be able to assess where you are, and what stage you're in, and you've assembled a mastermind. You assembled those couple people who understand your plight and what you're working on. Be very picky, if you will, about who's in your network, around who you're working with on goals. Because it can't be the same person all the time, right? Yeah, you need people who are it's great to have people who love you and care about you, but we're talking about folks who are participating in this process with you, who can be or who have already done it, right? And so that's what we want to be able to highlight. So if you guys have questions, or regardless, hit me up. You can email me at byrondees@hotmail.com. Go to the website. We can schedule a one-on-one at dreammakersnetwork.org. We can schedule time. We can talk it through. I'm game. A lot of you guys do it all the time. So, we wrap and catch up. So, but if you've never done it, this is what I really find great value in doing, and being able to make sure that you guys are still on message relative to your personal objectives. And so we appreciate you. The computer didn't shut down, so that was a success. And my wife just brought me some really good dark roast coffee, so it's time to shut it down. So have a good one. Enjoy the weekend. Celebrate. Find a way to celebrate this weekend, man. And definitely during Labor Day. Labor Day is almost here, so start planning it. Plan your celebration. I'm hoping I can get to the beach. That's what I've been talking about. I got to get to the beach. I can't be in Florida and not get to the beach. So let's make it work. All right, folks. Have a great weekend, and we'll connect soon.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.